This is a beautiful, small, compact saw. Let's get down to the 3 surprising pro features. Welcome to the Okie Woodsman channel. My name is Joe. Today we're looking at the Husqvarna 440 for the very first time, and we're going to check out 3 pro features that I was surprised to see on this homeowner saw. I think this saw may be a great bargain, so let's take a look at it together. Husqvarna has been producing these saws for nearly 20 years. From what I can tell, this came out early 2000s, and that says a lot because a model that can persist for that long, they must have done something right. And I want to give full disclosure, this saw was provided to my son, not myself, by sawsuppliers.com. These guys right here. If you like what you see on this saw, or the new version of this saw, make sure you check out my links because you can get 10% off an already low price with free shipping in the United States. Let's get down to the 3 surprising pro features that this saw had that I did not know about until it was in my son's hands. Plus, there's one unique thing that I've never seen on any other chainsaw before, and we'll get to that at the end. This is a beautiful, small, compact saw. It came with a semi-chisel chain with a little bit of a safety raker. That's not a bad thing for the market this saw is intended for. It is 325. Lots of instructions here on the saw. Again, this saw is marketed towards the homeowner or maybe like a farmer. But I have seen down in the comment section that quite a few people have used these and cut lots of firewood or done storm cleanup with them. So don't count it out just because it is a lesser expensive saw. So the first surprising thing that I found on this saw when my son pulled it out of the box was this right here. This side cover is metal. I don't know if it's aluminum or magnesium like on the pro saws. This Echo, this 562, and this 545 have metal side covers. It is very common for homeowner grade saws in this price range or more to include a plastic side cover. I think that's pretty cool. The next feature that I think is a pro feature, just like on this saw and that saw hanging on the wall, is this Husky 440 comes with the same exact flip caps. And mind you, these are the best, in my opinion, and I think many other people's opinion, these are the best flip caps that exist. They're just a great design. They're robust. They thread into the case. As you can tell, it's full of 2-stroke mix, 40-1. You've got a nice rubber gasket here, and they hold up quite well. And should you ever break off this lever here, check this out. There's a slot for a scrunch right here, and you can still get it loose. What can I say? I think it's the best cap out there. And that's carried over onto the oil cap as well. The third pro feature that I noticed immediately is that you have perfect, simple, easy to access maintenance on everything you need to get to and stuff you ought to be looking at regularly. Check that out. Using the scrunch, you've got these cool clips. Those are my favorite way that you can get into the top of a chainsaw. But you have those clips. You can pull this entire top cover off and you can see everything. This is awesome. The reason it's awesome is not all saws are like this. Some of them you have to use the scrunch to take out some quarter turn bolts. Then you might only get access to the air cleaner. Everything might be buried under yet a secondary cover. In fact, this saw right here, you do have to pull this cover off separately. This is only for air cleaner access. I really like this, and the reason why I like this is most manuals state that you should be checking your screen regularly and cleaning them. And gosh dang, if you're using Steel Ultra, you're really going to want to check that regularly. Make sure you check out Richard Flagg's channel about that, and Chicanic. They both talk about how much like ash and carbon or whatever it is, we're just going to call it buildup, gets on inside the cylinder and on the screen. Chicanic specifically talks about the screen on all the saws she's seen serviced, and there is not an easier way to do that than to get in here, remove this screw, slide it out the side, and you're ready to go. Another thing that you need to be checking regularly is you should be making sure that your spark plug has not backed out and gotten looser. When that happens, the threads can get wallered out and basically your cylinder is going to be ruined. Most importantly, you have easy access to the air cleaner. This isn't my favorite air cleaner setup, but it's going to be perfectly serviceable, especially for the market that this saw is for. But you have this little clip. Again, this is all accessible under 3 latches. How cool is that? I'm just really impressed with this saw. My son has cut about a half tank of fuel through it, and it's good and clean in there. Some brands have a tendency to get quite dirty inside the intake compartment very quickly, but Husqvarna has a really good like pre-filter type setup that they've had on a lot of saws for a lot of years. I think it's second to none. We've gone through the 3 pro features that I noticed immediately. I want to talk to you about a very strange feature that I'd never seen before, and it actually has to do with the scrunch. I have never seen a scrunch like this. But as my son was looking through the instruction manual, we found the purpose of this scrunch, and I actually have a story about it because this has actually impacted me one time long ago in the past. I started messing around with chainsaws probably 6 or 7 years ago when we bought this property. I just had this desire to sawmill. I wanted to cut my own timber, and we started burning firewood a few years prior to that. My first saw was an Echo CS310, and I'm going to say that I think that that saw it's a good saw, or that class saw like an MS170 or MS180, something like that. They're fine, but they're really a little bit too small for anything other than minor limb cleanup. In fact, I almost just did it. This is gonna lead into what this is for right here. This is an outboard clutch design, and so when you release this chain brake, this cover comes off easily. If a person were to get too excited and pull this cover off without releasing the brake, you'll notice that there's this band in here. That's the chain brake hand. Check that out. It says made in Sweden. Oh, and guess what? We got our answer. Magnesium. This is a homeowner saw with a magnesium cover. Not to mention, saw suppliers right now currently is $379, and then if you use my discount code OKI10, you get another 10% off of that. Make sure you check out their 2-stroke oil, like Red Armor and all of that. You're not going to beat their price. My local dealership, I recently purchased this from because I do like to support my local dealership, but I paid $18 for this. Check it out on sawsuppliers.com. Be perfect to add on to your new saw. Chain tensioner in the cover, and we got a magnesium cover. Now let's get back to if you were to remove this side cover without resetting your brake. This is the surprise hidden feature that I had no clue about. If your cover was removed without the chain brake being released, you would have to be able to reset this. This scrunch is designed to be able to reset this because it's not going to be easy to do. You know, you might try to dig in there with a pair of pliers or whatever. But I have a suspicion numerous people did that, and that was Husky's solution. I've never seen a scrunch like this before, ever. Have you? Now, a quick story about that. Some years back, I was grinding chains in my garage, and my neighbor brought over some chains for me, and I sharpened his chains, but then he couldn't get it back on, and it was actually this exact scenario. I don't know which saw it was. It was a Husky. It could have been a 440 or a 435, but at the time, he had pried the cover off. Because of that, couldn't get it back on. And I was unfamiliar with those saws at the time. I'm not exactly sure what came of that, but I handed him back his sharpened chains, and then I believe he resolved it on his own. It's just so funny. I don't know if this was a revision recently on these saws or what. I actually have experienced, and I gotta say, I've done it once before as well on, I think it's this saw right here, but it doesn't have that cool bracket that you can reach in there and do this. It's like a lever, I want to say, that you have to switch back. I'm very impressed with the quality of this saw. Yes, this could have been made out of plastic. It could have been made a little bit lighter and no doubt cheaper, but Husqvarna decided to make a magnesium side cover. That's pretty cool. If this is interesting to you, make sure you check out my channel. We don't just do reviews, we do a lot of cutting. This saw will be used by my son primarily. I will do some tests on it in the future. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down below. The community, as well as myself, try to get in there and help out as much as possible. Thank you for watching the Okie Woodsman channel, and we will see you on the next one.